Hello, this is Pigsy doing another video. I'm just getting out of this little spot. So the weather's lovely in the UK. I'm in the south, so I don't know what it's going to be like further north. I need to check up on reports. So what shall I talk about today? Hydrogen peroxide. I've been using it on and off, and sort of using it before I go to sleep. And I've just put a little bit in a pint glass and with a bit of borax, and then just sip it when I fancy it. So sometimes, you know, it might be that I use it to sort of cleanse myself. So I might have eaten something I'm not too sure how my stomach feels. I think, well, I'll have a bit of this cleanser, sort it out. Maybe because I've got an empty stomach. I find that you can eat less sometimes when you have a sort of mixture. You've got to be careful, obviously. You know, you don't want to take something full strength, obviously, with like the hydrogen peroxide. I use a food grade. So it's probably, I don't know, 3%, 6%. I can't remember. I thought it was higher than that. It says a certain percentage is distilled water, and the rest of it's a certain percentage of it's this food grade hydrogen peroxide. However, I just like I say, once I dilute it, I get a sort of general taste. If it tastes too strong, I mean, it's in the same way. If you taste something, you taste of chlorine, you pick up on it. It's one of the reasons why. I mean, I like the idea of being able to buy mineral water, but then I checked out some of the bottles, what the percentages are, and they're higher than tap water. They're like 8% flipping chlorine. I think there's only about 4 to 5 in a glass of tap water. I may be wrong there. So they might have other things that shouldn't be in there as well. So it's not really that cool. Okay, it doesn't sound too loud. Right, let's put a bit of heat in there, warm things up a bit. But the other benefits, you'll get this is quite fun. You get a bit of morning glory going on if you're a geezer. You might if you're a Sheila as well. Well, a bit different than that. But it's like you think, oh, alright. 5 in the morning. Oh, slow down. Oh. There we go, still want to survive that. Because it's got a fresh layer of snow. So I'd take it a little slower. I'm obviously a little bit too confident. Yeah. There we go. Just you feel the back go just slightly. You can drive in a straight line, you can drive as fast as you want, really. Once you've got the right measure of traction, what you can't do is accelerate quickly suddenly. So once you've got enough momentum, you can go travel straight. So when you've got turns, like you've got a curve in the road here, I can only slowly edge it, just following the tracks. But if it was steeper, like the ones coming up, I've just got to mind the speed. So yeah, it's probably a good thing. It means that my body is producing testosterone as a result of it. I mean, I had that when I had these InfoWars vitamins. I'd like B12. They said, oh yeah, natural B12, the real deal, this sort of stuff. So I had a shot of it, and my body quite liked it, to be honest. So yeah, so that's quite good stuff, really. If you want to get yourself kind of energised, because it's the hormone release is your vitality, and I mean, there's exercise you can do. Qigong exercises as well. I might have mentioned it before, so I studied like some Qigong. I've been doing it for a bit of a while anyway, I know, but on and off. I haven't been doing it loads recently. I used to do a lot at one point, and I was really interested in sort of the spiritual side of things, you know, can I feel energy and stuff like that. And so what you do is it's just you can contract your groin muscles, maybe 10, 15 times, and then relax. So you kind of relax, well you do, so on and off, so you sort of like tense, relax, tense, relax, tense, relax, tense, relax, and you'll feel a little jolt of energy. Now it may be similar for females, just controlling it may be slightly different, and then also for a male you'll sense the difference. Practicing something like that, you'll sense the difference between controlling your bladder and just controlling your sphincter muscles, and they also send up energy. And for a man, I think the G-spot's going to be up the bum actually. So it's that tension, but it's kind of stimulated in a way, I guess, by a contraction. And for women, they would have the same type of G-spot there, but the other one would be slightly different. But it's all female and male anyway. It's all just shaped different. One's inverted to the other, really. And so yeah. Another thing to talk about, like, so we've got this funny weather, and this what they call a beast from the east. I mean, it could even be a weather weapon. So if we have been cooking up some things against the Russians, I think they had something. Next they'll be saying we caused the snow. Now they could joke about that, but sometimes you can joke about the truth, which makes it you can't use it. You know, so in the same way, somebody's got a few conspiracies they believe in, or they believe in, you know, they say they don't trust the government, and then they start pumping other things on top of that. They're saying, you know, basically, them conspiracy people, them flat earthers, them whatever. So they, you know, the reptilian lovers and all these other things. They can mix up things together, and as a result, try to make you sound ridiculous. But then I could just shove a big chunk of wacko truth in there, and it would never hit home. So I think in the Russian media they turned around and said something like that, and saying we also caused the snow as well, you know, jokingly. But there's too many white hats, grey hats, black hats, any all sort of hats in there. So I'd never say a whole country's involved, or it's just organised like that. There's little groups, you know, maybe. Well, when your industry is weapons, you don't care too much who buys them. So there's probably different ways. So somebody could buy a weapon belonging to the Russians and use it somewhere else. I mean, it's a bit like in the past ISIS would use AK-47s, and that's probably to frame the Russians to some degree, or the Taliban, I can't remember. And then they seem to have switched over to sort of other weapons they use. I think they use American weapons, which seems a bit strange, because what it would say is we aren't these semi-rebels or whatever they want to. I can't remember call them so stupid like that. Soft terrorists or whatever they want to call them. Just make up these things. Yeah, they're not too bad. They're likely to kill you if you upset them, but they do have boundaries, you know, or these sorts of things. So they could say, well, we armed them, moderates, that's what it's called, the moderate rebels or moderate something. And as a result, what happened is they just sold the weapons, they said, to ISIS, which is just a cover story to the fact that maybe you just armed ISIS anyway, because you wanted a deal. You said, right, well, we really do want to get Assad out and shove someone we can control. I don't really hear much news actually about Assad. I have to do some research, because he, you know, if someone says he's done this, he's done that, he doesn't respond at all. There's nothing comes back to the media. Maybe because he doesn't speak English, I don't know, but they still have someone translating, saying, you know, I disagree with that. No weapons have ever been used against my own people by myself, as I have no intention of harming my own people and stuff like that. So, and we don't have a history of war, or whatever they want to say. I mean, I don't know. They're not perfect, these countries. I mean, if they wanted to compare themselves to, say, Saudi Arabia and stuff like that, and they're all kind of even pitched, really. I mean, there's no country that's, you know, absolutely perfect. I don't think Syria is a big problem. Syria is the motherland, isn't it? But if you destroy that and then we drag that into Jerusalem, which is the plan, I think, to expand Israel back to its former glory, which was actually Canaan before, and I don't know what the Canaans were as a people. I'm sure they weren't that problematic. It's just that we had a kind of system where a bunch of people said, oh yeah, men should rule, and another people said, oh, we're in touch with nature and we believe in Mother Nature. And then we said, right, we'll get rid of you because you're kind of contradicting what we believe in, and it really makes it hard for us to set up the women in the way we want. You know, that's all stupid actually. Somebody's got a rule, one of the sexes has got a rule, God must be a man, all these sorts of things. Sort of pay their way in their own sort of glory. So yeah, and then there's been reshaping history ever since. But to take in Syria would also include all the other stuff, and you've got the Anunnaki sort of capital was there and other things. A lot of the old monuments, they've copied information and then they've got them destroyed, or just destroyed access for us. They won't destroy the pyramids because, according to if they blew up the Sphinx, they might find a giant spacecraft underneath it. It's meant to have what do they call it? Four, basically. He's got so many different names. Hermes, all these other things. So yeah, his legacy lives under there. If the tablets are true, the emerald tablets, he said, well, basically I've got my spaceship under there, that's when you're ready. But I think it's more of a dimensional thing, so if you want to travel somewhere else, you're not just shifted through space, you're just shifted through dimensions, which makes a lot of sense really. I mean, I haven't had much sort of alien contact, and I think it's because it's interdimensional. If you put your mind out into a different dimension, then you can access other knowledge. Which I probably need to do is just, look at a star map, look at where you want to go, imagine what that star system looks like in your mind. It doesn't have to be perfect, because what happens is that how you travel astrologically or astro-spiritually, or and there's probably lots of different things for this, but you go through basically go through the network of stargates, and you may use a different principle of travelling through different star planes. Yes, and you will use the quantum network between the star systems that exists and runs between all dimensions, and other what we call solar systems look different in different frequencies of energy. So basically you might see something and it looked totally different anyway. So if you matched up like the Eye Nebula or something like that, it might look different because you're actually a different frequency band. And so you astral travel and astral project yourself to the star constellation of your choice, and it may resonate with you. So it may be deeper in your consciousness, deeper in your spirituality, deeper in yourself, and just make a visit there. Don't worry, you're not going to get sucked up by demons and stuff. If you don't like what you see, just get the hell out of there. You don't have superpowers to stop you going travelling, astral travelling, because they can't do that. Kind of like an extension of your light from yourself in some way. Yeah, I mean, it's only sometimes a risk that you can get things trying to interfere with you while your body's unoccupied. You usually got guide levels and other things protecting your body. You can summon in certain defences. But what you're doing is a peacekeeper, you want to communicate with something that you find fairly intelligent, and you know, you might see different types of humanoids. Once you've visited one group, you might find another group that are quite interested in you. They come along, like I've seen different faces like greys and somewhere between greys and humans. So there's a whole spectrum of sort of similar beings with big eyes and different facial features. They don't tend to talk too much. I mean, basically just an acknowledgement of each other. You can try to communicate with them, and if they're not too keen on you, because they think you humans are warlike or something, or whatever they might believe, because it depends on the race. The race might have had experience with the government here, and then they can also read you. They can take a reading and say, take a reading of my Akashic records. You will see that I am not an aggressor. I mean you no harm. just an interest in exploration. People, they do silly things. It is a one-way street. One-way street when it's all flipping snowy. So anything else? What else was I going to say? Yeah, I noticed something about. So we've got this weather. It could be a weather weapon, like I said. It could be something that's gearing up. So you've got propaganda wars, data wars. We've had a lot of stuff. They just want a big war, really. And they choose the worst time. Like, would we want to go to war when you've got bad weather conditions? Well, maybe that's a warning of what could happen. So if you turn around and say, right, we're going to start war, then we might have a mini ice age turn up in the UK in the middle of any time of the year. So that won't be too fun. But there's meant to be like some energy build up, and it's close to America. So it's meant to be heating up, like energy seems to be sort of on the infrared spectrum. It's a warmer area, and it's said. Someone said it's Nibiru's interaction with planet Earth. Maybe it's tilted it or something. And the planet may be in a different frequency, so you can't really see it. But it'd be like a hologram. Suddenly it's flash in front of you. You think, where the hell's that come from? Because it might start to resonate with our frequency. So it kind of, a bit like the way a shadow might reappear dark and suddenly it fades out. Or it could be where it's located as the Bermuda Triangle, and it could be Atlantis. Imagine if that activated and that popped back up. That might be quite an unusual experience, to say the least. You might have a continent that's been underwater for ages. Now, something I try to avoid in my astral travels is going over to Egypt and awakening any technology. Because I'm not in Egypt, and the Illuminati might end up bloody swiping it and using it. You know, like a blooming pyramid might reappear or something, or you could activate an energy grid thing, and you know, you could actually, like you say, then there could be a switch to get Atlantis back up, because there was a big issue in the past. It says quite clearly in these emerald tablets is that they were in one dimension. They just wanted to explore, some of these priests wanted to explore the other dimension, and so they went and opened a pit, which is like the hell. So they opened a pit where these beings are completely different to us, and so see us as a kind of like something that could be taken over or exploited or something like that. So yeah, let's have a bit of fun as I go down there. Anyway, this is Peroxide signing off, and I will speak to you soon.